Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Drewling Samantics.
Hello, mate.
A big question. Do you want to go first or shall I?
Oh, hang on. I think I'm on the same wavelength here, right? Bro, have you been fired? Is that what you were thinking?
I was going to kind of sort of ask you. Yeah, coming into that. No is the answer. How about yourself?
No, I am still employed with particular company that we yeah. I mean,
we better explain. Explain, Sam.
Yeah. Completely ridiculous way to start things, but I really love the fact that we were completely on the same wavelength as well. As you all listening and watching know, Drew and I not only do a podcast together, but we do on rare occasion work together in person, whether we do something that one of us has cooked up or something that we've been offered, or one of us goes, oh, I've got this, could you do this, blah, blah, blah. But equally, the way we met and the way that we used to work together a lot, and not so much now, which is why we're sort of referencing it, is doing immersive dinner theatre. And for the first time this year, certainly.
Yes, certainly this year, yeah.
Potentially for maybe a year, if I think back to when the last time was.
You know, you might be right, Sam. It could be about that.
Yeah, we actually got to do a dinner theatre show together, and we have this sort of silly running gag thing that it's because they don't want us working together because we're a bad influence on each other and things go.
Which we are. Let's face it,
100%. Anarchy and complete sort of. I don't even know how to describe what went on in the show. But it was brilliant. The audience loved it, and
had a lovely night. Yeah.
So it just proves they should book us together more. I mean, like, why not? We obviously have some sort of chemistry, or we wouldn't be doing this shit for 5 years and working together for 7, 8. No, it must be even been 2018.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. In which case, if we work together in 2018, does that not make this our 9th year of working together? Is that how the maths works?
Yes, yeah.
18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Yeah, 26. 2026, our 9th year working.
We're in our 9th year. Good Lord.
So, company that books us for this kind of work, take the bloody hint. And actually they have, because we're working together again in a couple of weeks.
We are. Yeah.
But yes, but anyway, and since I last saw you, all those many 2 days ago, or whatever it was. How are you, mate? All right.
I'm very well, thank you, Sam. I'm very well. Excuse me. This week is a little bit of a quieter week, so I'm doing some research, some reading for Kenny the musical.
Oh yes, of course. Yeah.
And not to mention some singing practice as well. So I'm stuck some of that in. So yeah, it's a week of prep and stuff.
Nice. Have you got a singing teacher? Because I reckon I could recommend one.
Where could I find a singing teacher?
In your bedroom. That sounded weird. That sounded really
a little bit weird. Yes. Yeah.
Again, I'm sure everyone already knows, or has at least put 2 and 2 together. But Drew's wife Verona is a singing coach, so quite handy to have her. I was going to say at your beck and call again. Absolutely not what I mean, but you know where I'm going with this.
Well, it's funny because it's one of those things. If I'm sort of humming the song or I start singing little bits and pieces, she'll go no, she'll go flat,
a permanent critique,
sharp, or that sounds nice, or whatever. So yes, it's a running thing, but it's great fun. So yeah. What about yourself? In the 1 or 2 days that I've not seen you?
So
quite busy at the me, aren't you? You've been running.
I am, yes. So rest of the weekend was fairly chilled, which was nice. I'm on an admin and update week, so we've got show reel stuff. So I've been sent some footage from stuff I've done, some headshot updates and various other bits. So it's all very sort of like bitty, but real big important bits that need doing.
Can't do it without it.
Bitty bits. If that makes sense, not really, but But yes, so not going out to do work so much this week, but very important work from the comfort of my own studio or home or wherever I happen to be. But yeah, so no, decent weekend, decent week coming up. We've obviously got a guest coming next week, so we're looking forward to that. Yeah, it's been good, mate. It's been good, and actually, it's good to catch up again because although we did only meet up a few days ago, or by the time this goes out, it'll be a week and a day or so. You know, we're in the world of podcasting where timelines never make any sense. But we actually had you reminded me when we were working together about today's episode, not in the fact that we needed to record an episode, but the subject matter, because life does go all over the place and you end up sort of forgetting where we were at and what was going on. Yeah. And we had the lovely Vittorio on last week, so that episode was already sort of covered and what have you. But while he was on, or certainly when we released his episode, something happened that we'd already spoken about and actually need to go back on. Would you like to do the honours and explain what I'm talking about?
Well, a few weeks ago, Sam and I made some educated predictions on some of the Oscar winners, or who we hoped.
Yeah, might. I like the word educated there. I don't agree with it, but we'll go with it.
Well, I'm just bigging us up, Sam. I'm bigging us up. Yeah, we made a stab at who we thought we might like, or would walk. Some of them, I think, a couple of them were obvious. Well, but we had a go. So we did best film, best actor, actress, supporting actors. What did we else do? A screenplay, and I've also put a couple of more in that were interesting. I thought we might, certainly. I mean, what we could, we should sort of. Our predictions for best film were One Battle After Another, Sam, and Sinners Me, and it was kind of a battle between the two on the night.
Exactly,
Sam. Yeah. You take the Oscar on that one, mate.
Yes.
One Battle After Another. I mean, yeah, it was either or, wasn't it? Really.
And I think that sort of sums up, as you said, the ceremony in general. Most things went to one or t'other of those
one
two.
One or t'other. Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah. So and there were equally a few sort of things that happened and stuff. So We've obviously gone through that one, and that was the big one. That's the main one, other than sort of best actor, best supporting, best actress, etc. But because that's sort of the big one on the night, it's good to get that out the way. And I'm very glad that I got it right. Not that it makes a difference, of course. But I'd also like to sort of go off on a tangent or two, because there are a few things that happened and a few sort of things behind stuff that go beyond just the results and whether we were able to predict them or not. So first of all, I want to start with an interesting fact. And we talk a lot about how the world of being a performer and the world of acting is far from glamorous. Now, don't get me wrong. To be at an Oscars ceremony, I think is probably pretty glam.
That's probably the height of glamour, isn't it? Let's face it.
However, there are some sort of, even within it being the biggest event of the year in the film calendar and probably the most watched award ceremony outside of sport.
Yeah.
There are still some secrets that make it maybe not as glam as you might think. And do you know where the Oscars was this year, or has been for a few years, I believe?
No, I did hear it, but I tell us, Sam, because I'm not going to guess.
So yeah, so it's quite interesting because obviously it is super glamorous, but the ceremony itself is hosted in a Dolby Theatre, which is in a shopping centre. Yeah. So don't get me wrong, it's still super glamorous, and they shut the road off, and then they put out this massive red carpet. And at the end of the day, it's on Hollywood Boulevard. Can't even speak. Hollywood Boulevard.
Well done.
That's the one.
I would prefer it to be on Boulevard. That would be so much better.
That's as close as we're going to get, isn't it, on the Boulevard?
The Boulevard.
Yes. And then you've got, I think it's called the Lowe's Hotel, which is opposite, which is where a lot of interviews take place, and the media sort of covering that, they deal with that over there, and they shut off sort of massive areas, and particularly this year, even more security than perhaps previous years. Things like multiple metal detectors and things, but obviously there's so much going on in the world, and particularly in the States, we're always hearing of the latest sort of tragedy and what have you. And so they were super, I was going to say overkill. Actually, it's not overkill. They were just super safe.
Probably isn't.
Yes. No, it sort of made me smile that despite it being the biggest, most glamorous, most crazy thing, and what is it, the 98th ceremony? So God knows what they're going to do in 2 years to celebrate 100.
God knows.
That's going to be crazy. But yes, it is technically in a shopping centre. So there you go. There's a little fun fact for you, that despite it being super glam, it's also a bit shit.
A bit.
Everything is, and that's what we love about it. It's film. It's fake. It's all.
Well, as I say, exactly. It's a set, isn't it? It's like everything else. It's just a set in front of
absolutely.
Everything.
So there's that. Now I'd like to move on, and can you do another reveal and another sort of, this was our predictions, this was I would like to move to, if it's okay with you, to Best Actor.
Well, Best Actor, we both thought, and then we both thought Timothée Chalamet would get it for Marty. And I kind of said, I think it might go to Michael Jordan, but we both thought Marty would get, Timothée Chalamet would get it just because of what it is. But then we both, in our heart of hearts, knew that it would go to Michael Jordan, and we were right. It did go to Michael Jordan.
Yeah, and we obviously had the conversation because Michael B. Jordan was playing two roles.
Yeah,
he was playing the twins, and obviously I've had experience of that, and we talked about some other big events there. It's a huge achievement and massively sort of challenging. And it really showed off his ability and his skill to be able to do that.
It was a showy part. I mean, I suppose Marty was a showy part. I mean, whenever you get anybody imitating somebody, their backs are against the wall. You've got no one to, you've got someone to compare them to. So when Michael Sheen was doing all his characters, whenever anybody does anybody that from real life, people are going, oh, does he look like him, her, do they sound like them, they, or all that sort of thing. He did a good job, but I think an actor's job was done by Michael B. Jordan. I think the acting Oscar to coin a pun, it definitely had to go to him. And of course, with my feelings about Timothée Chalamet, I'm so glad the bugger didn't win it.
To add to that, I think probably quite a few people feel more along the lines of how you do about him, since a certain event happened. And now we can speculate. That's literally what we can do. We shall never really know the answer. But do you think, and for anyone that isn't aware, he said something in the press, 2 or 3 weeks before the Oscar? No, it wasn't even that long before.
It was a few days before. It was a week before.
He made and to give him his dues, it wasn't like he wasn't up on a soapbox. It was sort of an off the cuff comment.
It was an off the cuff remark, yeah.
But when you're in the public eye, when you're that famous, and when you are that sort of powerful, for want of a better word, I believe you should sort of have a bit of a thought about what you're saying and why you're saying it, etc. And he basically said that, to completely paraphrase, no one likes ballet and opera.
He said about the outdated, outmoded, elitist.
Yeah. No one wants to see.
No one pays much attention.
Which, as you can probably imagine, upset quite a few people. Including a large portion of the industry, which may or may not have included people on the panel that judge the Oscars. So it shouldn't be, and it's almost like a sports match where you should, yes, sometimes a team or an individual can cost themselves something, but that shouldn't take anything away from when the opposition has done really well. And that's absolutely what we should be looking at here. I don't think we should say that Timothée Chalamet lost an Oscar. It's Michael B. Jordan won an Oscar or received the Oscar or whatever. He was awarded the Oscar. But you can't help but think maybe he didn't help himself out by sort of belittling or what do the kids call it? Negging, when you talk negatively about something.
Yeah.
To hugely important, hugely impressive, hugely liked, loved, followed parts of our industry.
That have been around hundreds of years longer. Yeah, they've been around hundreds of years longer than the movie industry, so they're far more well established and far more, entrenched in history and entertainment history than the movie industry is, which is arguably only 100 or so years old.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't think he lost it, or that would have harmed. I think the Oscar was in the bag long before that. The votes were in. The Academy would have voted. But what he did do was make himself just look a bit more of a twat. It's just like it was an off the cuff remark. And when he was so under the spotlight at that point, where anybody you're looking at a potential Oscar winner, because we didn't know, and there was lots of speculation, and he quite possibly could have done, because as much as I don't like him, he did do a good job. But it was just one of those moments where his PR team and the producers would sit there going, "Oh, shut up!
Yeah,
you've just
not now."
What it does make is, Timothée Chalamet, who's up for an Oscar for playing Marty, we can't remember his name, in this wonderful movie, has just shat all over it. And they're sitting there going, okay, we've now got to pull it back. What we are now doing is what the PR team are probably delighted about, is we're still talking about the film that didn't win Best Film, didn't win Best Actor, didn't win anything else, pretty much sank below and what we're doing is elevating it. So what he has done, whether it was a very careful, and the conspiracy theorists amongst us would have gone, he did it to get a bit of publicity.
Ooh.
Well, yeah, there is that. Because he is a young man who shoots his mouth off. He is a young man with opinions, and he should have opinions,
of course,
regardless of how I feel about him. Occasionally, they are out of naivety or bravura or whatever. But he has brought Marty back into the limelight after its sales took a little bit of a dip. So and it didn't win anything. Maybe say something outrageous. Take a risk. He's not risking anything because he has that reputation.
And I can see why, as you say, conspiracy theorists might lean that way. I would argue, and there is again no right or wrong answer, and we'll never truly know. But I would argue that the timing he did it didn't suggest that. Because
the way he did it, Exactly. I mean, if that was the case, he's a far better actor than I give him credit for. It didn't look like, do you know what I mean? So, but anyway, but all joking aside, I mean, it did provoke some discussion, and
of course it did. I mean, and then you could almost compare it, and it's a very different thing. But look at the Will Smith incident. Was it 2 years ago? Where. Like that, surely that was not deliberate for something, because it doesn't paint anything in any way, shape, or form. But it is still talked about now. And actually, it's interesting to go on to that. I've accidentally sort of segued and linked to something that I was going to mention, because. The Oscars this year was hosted by Conan O'Brien, who obviously is a beloved presenter and host on American TV. And he, I would say, perhaps wasn't quite as controversial as some others have been, but still was sort of very much on the edge, and there were sort of like little things mentioned. And Chalamet ended up the butt of a couple of jokes. I think he said something about the security is extremely tight because there's a concern of attacks from the opera and ballet communities, which obviously is brilliant, very, very topical, very funny.
And you couldn't ignore it either. It couldn't be ignored.
But the reason I say that, because I think it's refreshing, and I know it's not the same. It's slightly sort of changed. But I think hosting these ceremonies, particularly the Oscars and things like Golden Globes and the BAFTAs, when you've got these big presenters, they're almost, I was going to say untouchable, that's not what I mean, but it's almost the final final kind of freedom of speech role where they get away with so much, or they really push the boundaries. Aside from individual comedians having their own shows where you're going and expecting their sort of comedy, this being a very sort of public and widespread and open to all situation, it's a little bit refreshing that they do kind of go a bit edgy and do sort of take a few.
Yeah, I mean, the style of everything has changed, and you know, I mean, the biggest, I suppose. I mean, Billy Crystal was an amazing presenter, and he was charm and funny, and you know, and they loved him. And then, you know, he I don't know what was he Oscars or Golden Globes, but Ricky Gervais then went and did it, and you know what you're going to get from Ricky. And not only did it do it once, he did it 5 times.
Oh God,
you know,
yeah.
And you know, it's like, and each time he was getting, but then they expected it, and it was, and then it was kind of like all the stars sitting there going, you know, okay, throw it at us, we can take it, Ricky. And Ricky went, sure, you know, and as I think you remarked, you know, he's always got his lawyer with him going, can I say that? Am I going to be sued?
So I was lucky enough to see him do his stand-up fairly recently, and he talked about it, and he said the only reason I did it is because they basically gave me free rein. It had to be run past lawyers for sort of like libel reasons. But most of it we were sort of allowed to get away with to an extent. And he really did push boundaries. And as he would rightly say, I don't care. It's freedom of speech. It's a matter of opinion. And if you disagree with me, great. You should disagree with me on certain things. That's what makes life work. But Conan O'Brien was brilliant. Really, really good.
And it's also all those people sitting out there with billions of dollars in the audience, you know, all sitting there going saying, yeah, we don't take ourselves too seriously, which is the first fucking thing they all do, is take themselves immensely seriously. Yeah. Otherwise they wouldn't be there. So, but to have someone like Conan O'Brien or Ricky Gervais or whoever go, you know what, blah, blah, you know, and then we'll go, oh, isn't it shocking what he's just said about, you know, Martin Scorsese or whoever. You go, no, it's not. Martin Scorsese's got billions of dollars and don't give a toss. But it has to be done. I mean, there's the other thing, and I won't do too deeply in this, but it was also the awards have been, you know, you can't help ignore the fact that people have used them as a bit of a platform. De Niro and people, you know, politically. And I always think to myself, if you've got that platform, you should use it.
Yeah,
I might not agree what you're saying, but it behoves you to, if you believe that. And you know, there's an awful lot of anti-Trump feeling in the entertainment business, and they are prepared to say it. And I think it's like, well, you should expect it, rightly or wrongly, and there always have been. They're getting more and more political, which is why I think they get sharper, you know, presenters on there, you know, hosts, because they debunk all that.
Well, yes.
You know, so they kick all that out. So if anybody stands up there with a hyper political opinion, and several did, then the host will always bring it back down to, well, let's joke about their shoes, or someone's got.
Well, yeah,
boobs.
Exactly.
Or,
it gives the levels, doesn't it? And it allows that sort of
they are bigger than that,
seriousness, and everything in between. In fact, we had a few examples, and it has happened quite a lot before. Speeches being cut short, weren't they? Because some people went on a bit, and I don't know. It's difficult because you want to give everyone the platform to sort of go, thank you to everyone. It's a huge thing, and very few people ever do it more than once. But equally, how long would it be if you allowed everyone freedom to just keep going on and on?
Away you go. I mean, they do limit them, don't they? Your speech is no longer than blah minutes, and if you go over that, you will be cut off. So, but I suppose one of the biggest political statements was, for our best supporting actor, I went for Benicio del Toro, you went for Delroy Lindo, and we both thought, pretty good bets. It was Sean Penn for One Battle After Another, who went, fuck you, I'm not going.
No, exactly.
He just went, I'm going to go. Wait, was he in Kiev or Kiev or Gaza or something? I can't remember. He went to one of the big war zones and just said, I'm going there. Which, his absence spoke volumes. He didn't need to make a speech. I mean, he could have stood up there and made a very eloquent and wonderful speech, and everybody knows his political activism. So he said he kind of had somewhere better to be. It was like, well, good on you. You know, you've done your job. If they want to give you an award, that's his attitude. You know, But I think his absence spoke probably the loudest of anything all night long.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a sudden thought as well, and definitely we're not going to dive into this because neither of us are in a proper position to comment, or having not being not able to sort of empathize fully with either side in this argument or this discussion, and you'll see where I'm going in a minute. It's not our place to sort of give an opinion per se, but we'd be remiss not to mention whether the recent what happened recently at the BAFTAs had any effect on Michael B. Jordan's win. And I don't mean that in any way like saying it did, but what I'm saying is we can't ignore the fact that that happened and gave more publicity again. So long story short, I can't remember his name. The chap with Tourette's syndrome, John. I can't remember. I'll have to look.
I can't remember his name, but who. Yeah, it was Life was of I Swear, wasn't it?
So it was a biopic about him, about a man suffering with Tourette's, and it won a BAFTA, and it is incredible. I've not managed to see it yet, but from all the reviews and everything, people I know have seen it say it's incredible. So John, he was at the awards ceremony, and when Michael B. Jordan and what's his name you mentioned a minute ago, Delroy Lindo, when they went up to collect an award, he was in the audience, and unfortunately, and I am not suggesting this is what happened. This is how it was reported from certain things. His Tourette's syndrome caused him to shout out a racial slur while they were accepting this award. It obviously was talked about and has been talked about. It was a month ago or so now at the time of this going out. So, and it's not that we've ignored it, but as said, we're not necessarily in a position to sort of give an opinion or something because we can't properly talk from either side. All I will say is from what I've read and the information I know about Tourette's is it essentially makes your body, if there is a word or an action or something that you should not do, your brain basically goes, I have to do this. It's almost like you are forced into a position you don't want to be in. That's from what I've read. I don't know the science behind it. I don't know things like that, but that seems to be the overwhelming thing. It was dealt with very professionally by the gentleman on the stage. The comments post that from people who are either side of it have been both sides. It's been basically a battle. But it comes down to that thing again, doesn't it? It's this sort of freedom of speech thing, and it's another event that will be talked about for many, many years to come. We can't say that these ceremonies ever go sort of by without something happening. But it obviously, this one wasn't staged in any way, shape or form, but it did give publicity, and I guess maybe being in the news, maybe that can have an effect. But it's certainly, we can only say that for anyone who was negatively affected by it, we're very, very sorry that it made you feel that way, or that you had to deal with that. And for anyone on the other side of it, we're very sorry that these syndromes do exist that can cause these unwanted situations from both sides. So I don't know, is that a diplomatic way of talking? Maybe I've just made myself look stupid, but I just wanted to
I mean, like you say, it's nothing. We can have an opinion about it, but we can't have any feelings, I suppose, because we are not, neither of us are black and neither of us have Tourette's, so we can't. It was, I mean, if someone had shouted it out who didn't have, I'm not saying the excuse or the reason of Tourette's. I don't know, both those words are wrong. But if someone shouted it out, like you or I shouted that out, then fine. We should have been bundled out of the building, shoved in a cell and done for racial slur. Hey, that is obvious. But in this instance, there is a question mark about whether it was a Tourette's or whether this guy actually said it. Now, he has no reason to say it.
No.
So my opinion is he has no reason to say it. He's not known to be racist. No one said, so all you can do is lean towards, he has Tourette's. He may say something like, he may say anything. If someone got up on the stage and goes, "She's fat," or whatever, it could happen. If anyone was worried about that happening, maybe he should not have been in the building. If you're going to push it that far, you can't, because like you say, you can't.
It's almost that weird thing, isn't it? Like, can you berate a man for having a problem that you've just awarded a film for? Do you see what I mean?
Yes, you are lauding a film for explaining his problem. He demonstrated in a what was felt to be offensive, but he fully demonstrated
involuntary
what happens.
Yeah.
And you used a phrase there, which I think there's an irony here. You said, freedom of speech. In many respects, he doesn't have freedom of speech, because he doesn't fucking know what's going to come out of his mouth sometimes. He doesn't have that freedom. So there is a way of looking at that. Hopefully it will disappear it's going to be chip paper, but we're talking about it because we're talking about that subject.
Of course.
Hopefully it's going to disappear, because in many respects it doesn't warrant talking about. Certainly the racial slur doesn't warrant elevating, and it should disappear.
It's John Davidson is his name. It's just come to
well done, thank you. I
knew it was John something. John Davidson. And I guess, is there a small comparison, like almost the antithesis, that you shouldn't berate a man for having this problem when you've just awarded the film an award for making us aware of it. On the flip side, Will Smith basically showcased violence on stage and then was awarded after that for the film he was in. So it's almost like we're ignoring something and just cracking on. And then this one was the opposite. I don't know. There's so many different ways you can look at it. We don't need to go into it any further. It is not our place to speak on it. But like I said, we had to mention it because
we've got to mention it because it's within the sphere of what we're talking about.
Of course. But go on. Then back to awards. So how many? So we both didn't score a point for supporting. I got best. I got best film correct, and again we were both wrong on best actor as well. So we're not doing.
But we got best actor wrong. Best actress. I mean, it was probably, I don't think anybody had to guess. I mean, she got it. We all knew that, and there was so earth-shattering PR and her Pobley, and she was always going to get it.
Brilliant, Jessie Buckley. Brilliant.
And she got it. And good old. I mean, my little heart wanted Kate Hudson to get it simply because I think Kate Hudson is a wonderful actor. She will get one at some point.
And she has grafted. She has been in the industry for so long.
She has grafted, and she's pulled some great performances out. And the one, the one I thought she was amazing. But, it was Jessie, and, we all knew Jessie was going to get it. The first time the Oscars were mentioned and her name was in conjunction, it was kind of like, well, I don't need to bother to turn up because we all know, but we got our supporting actor wrong. Yeah. And we also got supporting actress.
Yes.
I went for Elle Fanning, who I'm a big fan of Elle Fanning. Yeah. You went for Teyana Taylor because, sensibly, Sinners was doing so well. But it was Amy Madigan. For Weapons, which that was a lovely little film, but if that was the only nod that she, the movie got that night, but good performance, another good performance. I'm gonna rattle through because I'm looking at time. You went for Ryan Coughlin for Sinners. I went for Josh Salfie for Marty Supreme, and it was Paul Thompson Anderson. Yep. For One Battle After Another, which kind of was a given. Once you looked at the film, you went, well, we know where direction's going to go.
Yeah, well, basically, we could have hedged our bets and gone for Sinners or thingy. Why is everything escaping me today?
One Battle After Another or Marty Supreme?
No. One Battle After Another. Sorry, just dropped the thing. And basically, when we hedged our bets, we hedged the wrong way, is what we
hedged the wrong way
throughout.
Yeah.
And we also, as you said, we did we threw a few sort of Marty Supreme related ones in there, and it didn't end up taking anything. But
no.
So did we get anything else right? I'm trying to think.
Screenplay. For Sinners, I said that would be Sinners, and Sinners won that one. There's a couple of awards that we didn't predict, but it was the new award for a casting director, which was Cassandra Kulakundis, who's cast some amazing stuff, and she cast One Battle After Another. So it was was a given.
Did it take 6 in the end? One Battle After Another.
I can't remember. It got adapted screenplay as well. It got best adapted. Sinners won cinematography and original screenplay,
which that sort of goes without saying. I think the cinematography on it.
Cinematography was amazing. I mean, God, it looked gorgeous. But that was where we went with our awards. I mean, I think it's going back to the host thing. I mean, when you're faced with that massive night, it takes a massive personality or someone who goes under the radar. And I mean, Conan's great because he's had some amazing guests on his show. And I occasionally do the sort of late night show, look at some YouTube stuff and look at the presenters and things. And you look at how he handles shit. And he could be thrown anything.
Oh, yeah.
Anything. He is very classy. And I watched it and I thought, you've handled this evening well. And I think they gave it to him thinking, actually, shit might kick off here.
Yeah.
And he will handle it well, So, yeah.
But yes, no, it was fabulous. There were some hugely deserved winners. There were some great surprises in there as well. We must mention K-pop as well. K-pop won best animated and best song, I think. So that's a huge achievement in that respect because it's such a relatively new area of the industry and that, but so heavily supported. Really, really good.
It was good.
And one other very quick thing because we've only got a minute or so left. There was, I think, for the second time only, there was a draw. I can't remember.
I don't know.
Yes. So the draw was. What was it? It was. There we go. For best live action short, which obviously is a lesser celebrated category in the sense of the media, because it's not one of what's considered the big ones. But yes, so. The Singers and Two People Exchanging Saliva, interesting title, were given both given the award as a proper tie. And I think there's been a couple of times before, but yes, I think last one was 13, 14 years ago, something like that, because Skyfall and Zero Dark 30 tied for best sound editing. But yeah, aside from that, a great ceremony. Very much enjoyed it. It was good fun predicting, but we'll get back to normal things next week with a brilliant guest. What do you reckon, mate?
I think that's a very firm prediction, Sam. I think we both win over that one.
Nicely done. So I shall see you, mate, next week, and we'll see everyone else then as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Cheers, everyone.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thanks again for watching this episode of Drewling Samantics.
Please make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video.
Don't forget, we're also available as audio only. Just search Drewling Samantics in any good podcast app. And please support us on social media. All our links and handles are on screen now.
We love welcoming new followers and subscribers, so why not share with your family and friends so they can join in too? Thanks very much. See you next time.